Think about the last person who lied to you. Not a little white lie, a real one, a deliberate, constructed, delivered with eye contact lie. Now think about how they looked when they said it. Did they flinch? Did their voice catch? Did they look away even for a second? Or did they just say it, clearly, calmly, like it was nothing? Because for some people, it was nothing. There was no guilt, no discomfort, no internal alarm going off, just a choice to say something false with no emotional cost attached to it at all. Most people lie. Research consistently finds the average person tells 1 to 2 lies per day, mostly harmless, mostly social, and when most people lie, something happens inside them. The amygdala fires a low-level alarm. There is a small but real feeling of discomfort, and that internal friction is what keeps most people's lying bounded. The people we're talking about today don't have that friction, and that's not a metaphor. That's a measurable neurological difference. In 2016, neuroscientist Tali Sharot and her team at University College London published a study in Nature Neuroscience that changed how researchers understand lying. They put people in a scanner and had them lie repeatedly while measuring brain activity. And what they found was this. Every time a person lied, the amygdala showed a slightly reduced response. Every single time. The brain adapting to dishonesty, getting comfortable with it. And the data showed the magnitude of that signal reduction directly predicted how much larger the next lie would be. Brain imaging studies have also found that pathological liars have 22 to 26% more white matter in their prefrontal cortex than the average person. More white matter means faster neural connections, which means they can construct elaborate, internally consistent lies almost instantaneously, with significantly less cognitive effort than it takes you or me to do the same. Guilt-free lying doesn't come from one place. Here are 4 profiles worth understanding. Psychopathy, where the brain simply processes emotional information differently, and lying is a rational tool rather than a moral violation. Antisocial personality disorder, where approximately 30% of those diagnosed develop pathological lying behaviors. Narcissistic personality disorder, where lying serves ego preservation, and the lies are so automatic the person often comes to believe them. And pseudologia fantastica, first documented in 1891 by Anton Delbruck, where individuals construct elaborate false realities not primarily for gain, but because the truth of their actual life feels unbearable or inadequate. And in 2022, a clinical case study documented a man who maintained a false identity as a NASA engineer for 14 years. They operate through specific techniques, contextual flooding, where they bury lies in extraordinary irrelevant detail that feels like evidence but is really architecture. Emotional stillness, where they look at you directly and speak at a controlled pace with none of the physiological tells most people display, because there is no guilt to betray. Mirroring, where they match your emotional register precisely, so their responses read as natural reactions rather than managed performances. Darvo, deny, attack, reverse victim and offender, where the confrontation becomes your fault. And the long game, where trust is built over months or years before being leveraged. Research estimates 3 to 5% of the population are pathological liars, somewhere between 7 and 10 million people in the U.S. alone, and a Yale University study found habitual liars average 4.7 lies per day, with 72% serving no practical purpose. while 68% of pathological liars experienced significant childhood adversity, the lying often beginning as a survival strategy that outlived the conditions that created it. The slippery slope effect documented by Sherratt doesn't only apply to pathological liars, it applies to everyone, and every time any of us lies and gets away with it, the amygdala's response decreases slightly. And nobody wakes up one day deciding to become someone who can lie without guilt. They just lie and lie and lie again, each time the cost a little lower, until one day there's almost no cost at all. Spotting them requires looking for inconsistency over time, not within a single conversation, a total absence of accountability across many situations, the strategic anger that replaces natural indignation when they're questioned, and most reliably, the gap between what they say and what they do, because performance can be maintained in moments, but a life tells the truth that a person won't. To protect yourself, document, because your memory is going to get rewritten and you need something outside the relationship that holds the original version. Stop arguing about facts with someone who doesn't share your relationship with facts. Trust the pattern over the performance, and accept that the acknowledgement you're looking for, the apology, the admission, the moment of genuine remorse, may simply not be available from someone whose guilt response has been eroded or never fully existed. Some people will lie to you deliberately and completely and sleep perfectly well tonight, not because they're evil in some cartoonish way, but because the mechanism that makes lying costly has been either eroded by repetition or was never strongly present to begin with. And understanding this doesn't mean becoming paranoid or closed. It means becoming clearer about what behavior you trust, about what evidence looks like, about the difference between a convincing person and a trustworthy one, because those are not the same thing.